So this is the algorithm for doing long division. We have two choices in the fourth grade. We have partial quotients, and then this is the other one that we call long division, and this is the way probably most parents learned how to do division, and it's the way that I learned how to do division when I was a kid. And we do two different algorithms so kids have a choice, so they can decide which one works best for them, and then they can move forward and do all division problems using either partial quotients or long division. And we say in my class, I am a long division person, or I am a partial quotients person. So long division, we start by in class creating a cheat sheet, we do this on an index card, and students write D, M, S, C, B. And that, of course, stands for, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? And that's the way that we remember the order that we go in when we do our division. But of course, McDonald's doesn't have anything to do with math in this case, and that's just kind of a fun way to remember these letters. They actually stand for the things that we're going to do when we do long division, and the steps we're going to do them in. So we start by dividing. Our second step is we're going to multiply. Third step is we're going to subtract. Then we have to check and bring down. So we start by just making these cheat sheets, and the cheat sheets stay in our pause binders. So here's our first problem, 89 divided by 3, and I'm going to write it like this. And this is the way that we do it. And there are a few things that we need to be really careful of as we're doing long division. So we start by saying, how many times will 3 go into 8? So this is very different than partial quotients, because we're not going to look at the whole 89. We're just looking at 8. And we have to be very careful if this number is less than 3, this number here. In this case, I can say, how many times will 3 go into 8 without going over? And I can say, okay, it's going to go 2 times. All right, so that's my divide step. I'm saying 8 divided by 3 is 2. That's divide. Next, I have to multiply. I multiply the 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. My next step is I subtract. I'm going to subtract 8 minus 6, which is 2. I have to check. Here's my check step. Is this number here, my 2, is it less than 3? Is it less than my divisor? The answer is yes, so check. I did it. Now I have to bring down the number. Now I'm noticing this is the last number I have to bring down. So I have to go through all these steps one more time. But it's going to be my last time, and then I'm done. Now I have to say, okay, so I did bring down, so I have to go back to the top. I have to divide. 29 divided by 3. How many times does 3 go into 29 without going over? It's really close to 30. 3 times 10, so it must be 3 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27, so that's going to work. Divide. There's a lot of confusion with long division when kids start working on this on their own, and they go, what do I divide? What do I multiply? So here's the best trick I can come up with. I just divided 29 divided by 3. I wrote my 9. Now I'm going to keep my pencil on the 9. And I know that every step, my next step is going to have to do with that 9. So what do I multiply? 9 times what? It's 9 times 3. I also say that many of these steps have to do with this divisor. 9 times 3, 27. Okay, I'm going to leave my pencil on the 27 because my next step has to do with the 27. I have to subtract. Subtract what? The 27 from 29. That's pretty straightforward. I subtract, that's 2. I'm going to keep my pencil on the 2 because my next step is to check. I have to check, is 2 less than 3? Yes, it is. I have to bring down. Nothing left to bring down, so I'm done. 29, remainder 2. I'll do one more. 412 divided by 4, and I picked this one because this is going to have another step that we need to be very, very careful of. All right, you change colors, so I'm going to start with divide. D stands for divide. Can 4 go into 4? Yes, it can. It can go once. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm keeping my pen on the 1 because my next step is multiply. And I have to do something with that 1. 1 times 4 is 4. I'm going to keep my pencil on the 4 because my next step is subtract. I have to subtract that 4 from something. 4 minus 4 is 0. I check. Is 0 less than 4? Yes, it is. So check. That checks out. Now I got to bring down. I got to bring down the 1. Here's the part that's tricky. I have to divide. How many times does 4 go into 1? It goes 0 times. So there's a lot of times when we can ignore the 0. This is a case where we cannot. I have to go through all these steps with my division. So 4 goes into 1 0 times. My next step is I have to multiply that 0 times 4. 0 times 4 is 0. I have to subtract that 0 from 1. I get 1. Check. Is 1 less than 4? Yes, it is. Now I have to bring down. Bring down the 2. That's the last thing I have to bring down, so I got to go through these steps one last time. Divide. 12 divided by 4 is 3. To multiply that 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract. 12 minus 12 is 0. I check. Is 0 less than 4? Yep. Bring down. Nothing left to bring down, so I'm done. There's no remainder, so I'm not going to write remainder up here. I don't need it. Okay, so my answer is 412 divided by 4 equals 103.